A slew of trades orchestrated by the Portland Trail Blazers has shifted the balance of power amongst some of the NBA's strongest competitors. Yes, the Milwaukee Bucks added Damian Lillard, but they aren't the only team that improved their roster. The Boston Celtics and Phoenix Suns, two teams that are also considered frontrunners for a championship, revamped the look of their teams as well. So who are the biggest winners and losers of this recent slew of deals? Let's get into it. Let's start off by taking a look at the Phoenix Suns and why they made this deal. The Suns traded away their 24-year-old center DeAndre Ayton to the Blazers and in return received a package that included Jusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, and Nasir Little. For them, they have totally revamped their starting lineup that went to the finals in 2021. The only starter that remains from that group is Devin Booker. Now, instead of being surrounded by Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton, Booker is going to be surrounded by Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Jusuf Nurkic, and one other player who's yet to be determined. Trading away Ayton frees up a ton of salary cap space, which the Suns were in desperate need of, and in return, they received a player in Nurkic who may actually suit the team's needs better. Though Ayton has more upside, Nurkic is a much more refined and veteran NBA player. He might not have the same scoring ability as Ayton, but he's a comparable rebounder and defender who doesn't demand as many looks on offense. On top of that, Nurkic is an excellent screen setter, passer, and three-point shooter at the center position. His abilities will allow the Suns to space the floor more effectively on offense and play more cohesively as a unit. With so many scorers on the roster, Nurkic is the perfect center to supplement their abilities, and Nurkic isn't the only difference maker they received in the deal. Grayson Allen served as the starting shooting guard for a formidable Bucks roster for the majority of the past two seasons. His athleticism and sharp shooting abilities will give the Suns a weapon that they can use in various starting lineups. He might even be the fifth starter. Though the Suns have lost the biggest piece in this deal, the trade gives them depth, cohesion, experience, and likely further solidifies them as one of the top contenders to come out of the Western Conference. The Bucks, on the other hand, lost some depth, but they received the top player in any of the deals. That's right, the Bucks have acquired Damian Lillard to pair with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The deal was made after the Bucks were bounced from the first round of the playoffs, and Giannis openly stated that he needed to see that the organization was completely committed to winning another championship before signing a contract extension. So instead of running it back with the same roster, the Bucks got bold and shipped away the rest of their first-round picks and two starters, including Jrue Holiday, for Lillard. The deal gives the Bucks a very different-looking team. But we think that the two stars will fit together perfectly once they find their timing. It'll take practice, but by playoff time, Giannis and Lillard should become the top pick-and-roll duo in the entire NBA. They were both impossible to stop on their own, and now teams won't be able to lock in on either one of them. Giannis setting screens and drawing so much attention on the interior with his physical dominance will create space for Lillard in ways that he's never seen before. Meanwhile, when Lillard is on the perimeter, teams will need to put bodies on him and won't be able to focus their attention on Giannis. Needless to say, the combo should be lethal. But after trading away Grayson Allen and Jrue Holiday, the Bucks won't have the same level of depth that they had in past seasons, and losing Jrue Holiday will compromise their top-tier defense. With the team now heavily weighted towards interior players such as Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis, the Bucks are going to have to change their style of play and find a new identity. We believe it'll take some time and wouldn't be shocked if the Bucks need to make some more roster moves before playoff time in order to fill out the other pieces of the puzzle. But with that being said, they should be extremely lethal and will cause matchup nightmares once they find their groove. Last but not least, the Boston Celtics swooped in and traded for Jrue Holiday from the Blazers shortly after they acquired him. They gave up Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and draft picks. The Celtics have now revamped what was one of the best rosters in the entire league. A team that was recognized as one of the deepest groups in the NBA has parlayed their depth into a more top-heavy unit. Basically, they gave up both Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart for Jrue Holiday, and they gave up Grant Williams and Robert Williams for Kristaps Porzingis. They'll become more reliant on their starters than their bench this year, but that might be okay. With Derek White, Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis filling out their starting lineup, they're also a force to be reckoned with. The loss of Marcus Smart is totally negated by the addition of Jrue Holiday. but they'll likely miss having players like Grant Williams and Malcolm Brogdon who could play defense and shoot the lights out coming off the bench. We're going to tentatively call the Celtics winners this offseason as well, thanks to the high upside of their additions, despite their shift away from what made them successful. With the continued development of Brown and Tatum, the Celtics remain a strong contender with more top-end talent on their roster than in seasons past. One question still remains, though. What's going to happen with Malcolm Brogdon? Brogdon's 31 years old and, like both Lillard and Holiday, doesn't fit into the Blazers' timeline. So Portland is likely to trade him next. He's coming off a season where he won the Sixth Man of the Year award, but he's the type of player with the versatility and skill set to benefit any team in the league. For one, Brogdon can play with guard position, and at 6'5", he's a superior perimeter defender, but he's also a knockdown shooter. He has a career three-point shooting percentage of .388 and even has a rare 40-50-90 season under his belt. There's no doubt that teams will be lining up for his services. The Miami Heat, who missed out on Lillard and Holiday, could grab Brogdon at a reduced price to try to keep pace with the other powerhouses in the East. But another team likely in the mix is the Toronto Raptors, who have shown interest in Brogdon in the past and have a glaring hole at the guard position. When Brogdon was traded from Indiana to Boston last season, he was actually given the choice to accept a trade to Toronto, Washington, or Boston. He chose Boston because he thought they were closest to winning a title. But now the Raptors might be able to finally get their guy. They lost Fred VanVleet to free agency and replaced him with Dennis Schroeder. But last season, guard play was a huge weakness for the Canadian club. Clearly, they've had interest in Brogdon in the past, and if they acquire him, they might quietly have a competitive team as well that could give the top contenders in the East a run for their money. What do you guys think? Which team improved the most from the recent NBA trades? And where do you think Malcolm Brogdon will end up? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more sports news and insights.